Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. Today is a different episode. We have an announcement. This is our last episode before our break for the summer. Don't worry, we will come back, guys, during the fall. But for now, we're taking a small break just to focus on ourselves more. Blackpool's coming up, so we need time to focus on that, and just bigger competitions that are coming up as well. And yeah. So this episode, we're just going to talk about just the podcast, why we thought of this podcast, why we're still doing this, and yeah, stuff like that. Ricky, you can start.
So basically, obviously today we're going to be sharing like why we started this. I guess what we like most about it. And I want to say that the idea for this podcast was, I always tell this to everyone who asks me about it, was 100% Dan's idea. And he had this idea for this podcast. I was like, I personally never even thought about doing a podcast before. Like, I barely ever had listened to them. I didn't know anything about podcasts. And obviously, he definitely knew a lot more about it than me. We had like our own kind of like friendship relationship before, just as knowing each other. And we're both into kind of like content creation in our own ways. So we kind of had like this kind of connection through content creation that we kind of relate to sometimes. And when he came up with the idea to do the podcast and he was asking me if I wanted to be a part of it, I thought it was super cool. But at the same time, I literally didn't know anything about podcasts and I thought I was just going to let him down because I'm already not great with technology and I have so much other stuff to do. I just thought I was going to like fall apart. But we made it through like all the technical difficulties that happened a lot, especially in the beginning. And just like all the changes through like microphones and intros and outros and like how we come up with our ideas and even the length of the episodes. Like, definitely we've been like a solid team through this and like all the changes that we've made in like the first, I think, 60 episodes. Like, 60 episodes is so much content. I'm even surprised that there's 60 episodes of our podcast, which I'm really proud of. And I think Dan's really proud of it
Oh, of
too.
course, by all means. Yes. So I just wanted to say one of my favorite episodes to film was probably the interview episodes. Um, Partially because some of the pressure was off of me, and I didn't have to power through the episode. I'm sure Ricky feels like that as well. But it was also interesting just talking to our guests, seeing how their lives differed from ours. Another episode that was interesting to film was the high school dropping out episodes. It was interesting to share my reason why I dropped out. It was fun, yeah. Let's see, Ricky, what were your few favorite episodes to film?
I am bad at picking favorites. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think just the idea in general, which both of us really enjoyed, was just sharing anything and everything that we know that we've experienced about ballroom because it's such a huge topic. It's such a huge thing in many people's lives that it's just nice to express, especially in these times where we haven't been to comps in forever. I haven't been to a comp in like 15, 16 months already. And I don't have that connection with my dance friends anymore because I don't see them. I'm not at the studio with them. And I kind of felt like this podcast was definitely a way, like an outlet to keep it more like keep that connection and that community alive in the times that I haven't been able to see anyone and a lot of us haven't been competing so often. But yeah, definitely some of my favorite episodes. I like talking about like the routines and like kind of like diet and exercise and like mentality. That's like a lot of my personal life is focused on that right now. So it was really fun to share that in the podcast, like kind of what's going on and what has changed with me, and any advice that I can give to anyone has been really, really exciting. And definitely the interview episodes were also super fun to hear from our friends and just connect with them and talk about dance stuff. It's so interesting for us. And I think it's also interesting to the viewers as well. I love doing the interview episodes.
Yes. And the whole point that we have this episode, for me personally, I just feel better when I'm talking to someone else about ballroom. I live in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. The only competition that happens here is Ohio Star Ball, right? And it's like a kind of a midpoint between the different states. And no one lives in Ohio. I don't have other people to talk to about ballroom. And I feel less insane when I have someone else to talk to about ballroom because I'm always talking to myself about it. And like there is just different events that are happening, different breakups, and I have someone else to share my thoughts with. And it's also nice to hear someone else's thoughts about all the things that are happening in ballroom and just different ideas in general. And I just decided, why not? What if some people might benefit from this? Right? So I'm like, why don't we just film it, put it out? Maybe people will benefit from our conversations. Yeah, different. We've talked about so many topics. Talked about mindsets. We've talked about personalizing your style and everything. Oh God, what else? What else? We've talked about the high school thing. Yes, of
High
course.
school, diet, exercise,
Yes.
burnout, rest days, competitors, mentalities, anxiety. Like we've talked about even like physical well-being and like when you're recovering from an injury from dance and just like about different coaches and experiences and learning from different coaches and your learning style and your training style and different competition routines, post and pre-competition routines. We basically shared almost everything we can think of at this
Yes.
point. So we're hoping this break will definitely give us an opportunity to get more fresh ideas and content ideas for you guys so we can keep creating this podcast and more episodes and just keep talking about different topics that are helpful and interesting to our listeners. And we're so thankful for any and all listeners, even if you've only watched one podcast on any platform. It is so nice to know that someone's listening and it's just interesting, entertaining, just something that we can relate to each other on, even if we've never met each other before. Um, Definitely so happy to be a part of this. And I think this little break will definitely be good for all of us.
Yes. Yes. Uh, One thing that I wanted to add, I definitely learned some things while filming all these episodes. There's this one episode that we did. It's called "Are you harder to kill today than yesterday?" And I would definitely say I am harder to kill today than the day we started the podcast. I've gotten a lot of things
Definitely.
from Ricky, and just while I'm talking, I realized a lot of things as well. Also helps when you start teaching, you start to understand things more clearly, and different things might start making sense to you after you actually start explaining them to someone. So yes, definitely my life did improve from filming all these podcasts. And yeah,
We definitely want you guys to know that throughout this break, if you're ever going back and watching previous videos, our DMs are always open, our comment sections are always open. If you have any ideas or comments or even thoughts to share with us anywhere, by no means, always feel free to reach out. And definitely, we're always looking forward to hearing from you guys in any way. If you have any ideas of future people you want to hear on the podcast or different segments that you think that you would really enjoy, definitely let us know anytime that you want. We're more than happy to do that for you throughout this break. We really look forward to hearing from you guys.
yes, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.